Hello, Faith Walkers. Welcome to another episode of Faith Living with the Jacksons. So today's video is going to be like a tip advice video. This is for my ladies out there. Today's video is titled 15 Ways on How to Be a Better Wife. So let me put this disclaimer before I get down to the nitty-gritty of everything that I'm going to talk about in this video. Yes, I am married. My husband and I have been married for almost 5 years. I am not perfect. My husband's not perfect. We don't have a perfect marriage. We are just two imperfect people who serve a perfect God. And by His grace and His mercy and His unconditional love, are we able to successfully love each other and walk out this beautiful ministry called marriage. So I just want to put that out there, that I'm not saying that, I have it all together and this is how you need to be a great wife or anything like that. But these are just tips that I've learned over the years. It's not everything. I couldn't make, of course, a video saying everything on how to be, a great wife or a better wife. Because every marriage is different. So these are just some things that work for me and that I think may help other people. But of course, each marriage is different. Each person is different. So keep that into account as well. But hopefully these tips will help you ladies. Okay, so tip number 1 is pray for your husband and your marriage always. That is the biggest, most important thing I believe in marriage is prayer. Prayer is just, it's the foundation, making sure that God is the center of your marriage, the center of your relationship. And so it's definitely wise. We should definitely pray for our husbands and pray for our marriage. Of course, you all should pray, corporately, definitely pray together. But you still need to have your own personal prayer life with the Lord. You still need to go, before the Lord on behalf of your husband and on behalf of your marriage and cover him, and pray for him to, to be a better leader. Pray for him to get wisdom from the Holy Spirit. Pray for his strength. Pray for his confidence. Pray for his health, pray for his mind and all those different things, constantly bring before the Lord, all of your cares and all of the cares that your husband has, the things that he may express to you on a day-to-day basis, or even the things that he may not express, but because you all are in tune with each other, that they're bothering him. So make sure that you pray for your husband always. Tip number 2, make your husband your number 1 priority. Okay, ladies, I cannot stress this enough. Trust me. I have learned, okay, and this is something that I'm definitely still working on. And when I say that, it doesn't mean that my husband isn't my number 1 priority, but just when you're married and when you have children and just all of the cares of life, even though sometimes we may think that we're making our husband our number 1 priority, he may not feel that way. We have to be really careful and make sure that our husband feels like he's our number 1 priority, that he is our number 1 priority, and that he feels like it. So prioritize things, in your life to make sure that your husband, is your number 1 priority. So it should always be God. God is our top priority. But after God, your husband should be your number 1 priority. Then your children, then your family and all of those things that follow forth. But your husband should always be first. Your kids should never be before your husband. And something for myself as a new mom, that was something that I really had to learn, and something that I'm still really working on, because my son is at an age where he actually's always been very, demanding, and he's been very, he's a high needs baby. Okay. So, I have to make sure that I'm being intentional about making sure that my husband knows and feels like he's the number 1 priority in my life. Tip number 3, be interested in his interest. Ladies, we have got to be interested in things that our husband is interested in. Think about, if you're, for yourself, the things that you're interested in, the things that you like to do. When your husband takes interest in those things, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel like you're sharing something together. It makes you feel like he cares about what you care about. So we have to make sure that we find interest, in the things that he's interested in. And it may not be, you're not going to be interested in every single thing. Okay. That's what makes us different. But let's say, it's a show that your husband really likes. Okay. And it's a reason why he likes that show. watch it with him, and while you're watching it with him, don't make comments and, be like, why we gotta watch this stupid show, or on your phone the whole time while you're watching the show. And make sure that you are showing him with your actions as well as your words that you're interested and you care about the things that he cares about. Number 4, honor and respect him. Whew, I think I need to repeat that. Number 4, honor and respect him. It is so vital that we as wives honor our husbands and respect them. We never want them to feel, like we're disrespecting them, or we're not honoring them as a man or honoring them as the king of our castle or the king of our household. So that is definitely important to honor him, and to honor his position. So we definitely want to make sure that we are honoring our husbands, number 1, in our homes. Whatever goes on privately is going to reflect in public. So we should definitely honor and respect our husbands as a man in our marriage, in front of our children. I've seen so many women dishonor their husbands in front of their children, or demean their husband, or emasculate them. So it's very important that we honor them in our homes and out in public. Honor and respect your man. Tip number 5, forgive quickly. That's a big one. Forgiveness. It's so important that we forgive quickly and that we don't hold grudges and that we don't take things into the next day or, into the next season with us, because those things can destroy your marriage. It can destroy you and your husband internally, both individually and together as a couple. So important to forgive quickly. Number 6, become fluent in his love language or love languages. I think that is so important that we learn how our spouse needs to be, wants to be, and desires to be loved. Because sometimes we can be expressing our love to our spouse in a way that we want to be loved, in a way that doing the things that we want to be done to us. And that may not be how, they want love reciprocated to them. So if, for instance, your love language is acts of service and your husband's love language is physical touch, and you are doing all these acts of service and you're like, well, why isn't he, appreciating this, or why isn't he such and such? Well, because his love language may be physical touch, but because you're not becoming fluent in his love language, he feels that he's not really being loved, and so even though you love him and you guys love each other, it's important that you become fluent in his love language so that he can really, feel loved and appreciated. So it's important to become fluent in your husband's love language. In addition to that, I want to add, don't let other people know what your husband's love language is. This is something that I see a lot of wives failing at, and I see it a lot on social media, where women are letting the whole world know what their husband's love language is or what their love language is. It's nobody's business. Y'all will never know what my husband's love language is because I'm not telling you, because I'm the only one who needs to be fluent in it. Make sure that, you are very careful in that area, because you don't want to expose, your husband's love language and put it out there and allow an open door for the enemy to come in, for another woman or some spirit to try to come in, and pervert that and come in and try to become fluent or try to appeal to things that, you're only supposed to be, appealing to him in that area. So be careful with that, ladies. Tip number 7, praise him instead of criticizing. Sometimes we can nag. Sometimes we can point out the things that our husband didn't do right, or they didn't wash dishes the way that we wanted them to, or they didn't put this up on the shelf the way we wanted them to. So it's important that we praise our husbands, because when we criticize and when we nag, that makes them feel like they're not good enough, or they didn't do this up to your standard. And that's really hard on anybody, and especially men, when they feel like they can't please you. So praise your husband, celebrate your husband instead of criticizing him. Tip number 8, be selfless. Listen to your man. Make sure that his needs are met. So it's very important that we're selfless. We're selfless as wives. And, me saying this is not saying that our husbands shouldn't be any of these things to us, but right now I'm just focusing on the women. That's who I can talk to. I can talk to you ladies because I'm a wife myself. So it's important that we're selfless, because when you stop thinking about yourself so much and you start thinking about your husband and concentrating on his needs and making sure that his needs are being met, then everything else is gonna flow, so it's just important that we deal with ourselves first, that we're selfless, and that it's not just about me, and what I want and what I need, but that we're listening to our husbands, we're listening to what they need, what their needs are, and we are meeting them, and we're meeting them with a pleasant attitude. Tip number 9, treat yourself like a queen, like his queen. This is so important. Ladies, we have got to take care of ourselves. And when I say take care of yourself and treat yourself like a queen, I mean look like a queen, act like a queen. So that goes for having great hygiene. Should be common sense to people, but unfortunately they aren't. So it's really important that we take care of ourselves. Make sure that you shower, every day. Make sure that you smell good. Make sure, that you wear, clean clothes, and, even in your clothes, make sure that, you treat yourself like a queen. So, you shouldn't be exposing yourself to other people. So if, there are certain things I won't wear outside of the house because I don't want to disrespect my husband. There's some outfits I have that's just for my husband. It's not for everybody else to see, or I'm not going to wear a low cut revealing shirt that's showing, all of my goodies, and now everybody else can see them. Those certain things should just be kept for our husbands. So we have to make sure we treat ourselves like a queen. Even things like keeping your toes done and keeping them clean and just all of those different things like that. Men appreciate that. Men are visual as well. I'm not saying that's the only thing men are, but it's important because if your husband, is coming home, from a long day of work, and let's just say you're a stay-at-home mom, like, like myself, who would want to come home to a wife every day that is in the same clothes that she was in last night, that has crud in her eye, just, y'all, and I'm not saying that, it's never going to happen where you're always going to look flawless, because trust me, I do not look my best, every day, but still I make it, a priority to look good for my husband, to treat myself like a queen, because I want to be the sexiest woman that he sees every day. I want to be the most beautiful woman that he sees every day. I want him to come home and just be like, yes, baby, yes. So treat yourself like a queen. Tip number 10, serve him. This is so important. We should serve our husbands, with gladness. And when I say serve your man, I'll give you guys an example. When it comes to cooking, let's say cooking. Don't just cook for your husband and, okay, yeah, I made your plate, or your food is in the oven, go ahead and get it out. We need to serve our husbands. We need to, okay, baby, when they sit down, when we're getting ready, to eat, I always serve my husband his food. I'll be making both of our plates and have everything, but I serve my husband first, of course, before myself. I serve my husband. I make sure that he has everything he needs, all of his utensils. If he needs any, toppings or particular condiments for his food, make sure he has his drink, his napkins, everything. Honey, is there anything else that you need? Make sure that you serve him so that, he feels like you're king. So it's important to serve our man, serve your husband. Tip number 11, be his safe haven. Our husbands should feel safe in the comfort of their home. They should feel safe around us. They should feel safe with us. It's so important that, our husbands know and feel like when I'm with my wife, I can be myself. When I talk to my wife, I don't have to put up a wall, but I'm safe here. I feel safe. I feel like I can be vulnerable and not be judged. So it's very important that, our husbands know that they have a safe haven with us. Tip number 12, be grateful. It is so important that we don't just go off on a tangent and just complain every day and talk about what we don't have or what's not done this way, or, you know, all those different things, but to be grateful for what you have with your husband. Be grateful, you know, for what you all have established together. You know, be grateful for your family. Be grateful, and find joy in everything, instead of, you know, looking at situations or looking at things and finding a flaw. Find joy in it and be grateful. Tip number 13, have a gentle and graceful spirit. When I say have a gentle and graceful spirit, I don't mean, you know, be walked over, or, you know, every woman should just be quiet or anything like that, but be gentle. You know, don't be so rough, you know, with your man, and, you know, be graceful, you know, be a lady. And I just think that that's so important, you know, just to be gentle, in our tone when we talk to our husbands, and not to, you know, be demeaning, or, you know, different things like that, but just to be gentle with them, be gentle in our words, you know, to be kind, to be graceful. Tip number 14, be intimate. Okay, now intimacy is more than one thing. Okay, so when I say be intimate, I mean in all areas around. You know, intimacy is not just sex. You know, that is a form of intimacy, but, you know, we should be intimate with our husbands. So in our communication, you know, in our touch, all of those things, be intimate with him. Your husband should feel like you are his wife and not one of his homeboys. Don't withhold intimacy from your spouse. You know, if there's something that he did that you didn't like or anything like that, don't withdraw from him. Don't say, you know, well, you know what? I'm still mad at you, so you ain't getting none. Or, you know, I don't feel like it. This and other. That's just so wrong, you know. And if you are a believer, you know that our bodies are not our own, you know, and that's together in marriage. So it's just so important just to be intimate with your spouse, to have the intimacy. You know, sometimes y'all might just want to just lay there and hold each other, you know, cuddle, or, you know, listen to some music, dance together, you know, just whatever form of intimacy you and your spouse have together. But make sure that you have that, and make sure that that's something that's constant. You never want to take that away from your marriage, because it's so important. And that is one thing that really, really connects you when the two of you become one, in intimacy. That's really important. So make sure that you're intimate with your husband. Tip number 15, and this is my final tip, and that is protect your marriage. Protect your marriage. Guard your marriage. Guard your heart. Guard your mind. Guard your home. So that means that everybody and their mama, including your mama and his mama, doesn't have a vote in your marriage, doesn't have a say-so, is not telling you how to be in your marriage and, you know, regulate your marriage, and he need to be doing this and this and the other. You don't have to do that. He told you to do that, this and the other. All of the voices, silence the voices. Make sure that your marriage is protected. So the things that your husband, you know, privately, you know, discloses to you, you shouldn't be calling your girlfriend on the phone, girl, like, you know, he told me such and such and this and the other. That's not protecting your marriage. You know, it's not protecting your marriage. You know, if you get into a disagreement with your spouse, and now you're calling your mom and saying why you're mad at him and what y'all were arguing about and different things like that, that's not protecting your marriage. You want to make sure that you protect your marriage, that you guard your marriage, and that you guard your home, that you guard your heart. Make sure that you're not letting a bunch of negative and simple and evil stuff and things like that into your spirit, because all of that will, you know, affect your marriage. So if you're watching a lot of stuff on TV that is just about adultery and it's, you know, people are praising it and all of those things like that, that's going to get into your spirit, whether you believe it or not. But if that's all that you're consuming on a day-to-day basis, you know, you are what you eat. So be careful and make sure that you are protecting your marriage, that you're protecting your house, that you're not just letting anybody, you know, come in and just bring a bunch of mess, but that you are guarding your home, that you're protecting it. So that even goes back to the first tip with prayer. You know, one way to protect your marriage is by prayer as well. Covering your husband, covering your home, your marriage, and your family, and and your children. So it's very, very important to protect your marriage. So I hope that these tips, these 15 ways on how to be a better wife, helps you ladies. Like I said, this is not everything, but these are just some tips that have helped me and that I, incorporate on a day-to-day basis so that I can be a better wife. And I just wanted to share with you ladies. So if you ladies have some tips, some suggestions, comments, please leave them down in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you ladies. You all can email me as well at faithlivingwiththejacksons@gmail.com. I want to hear from you all. I hope that these tips helped some of you guys. Thumbs up the video if you enjoyed it. Please share it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you have not already for weekly and daily videos. We love you all so much, and I will see you all in the next video. Have a wonderful day. Love you guys.